Exposed, 3 spine-chilling true stories of haunted hidden cameras capturing sinister secrets. Lisa's heart pounded like a drum as she rewound the footage from the hidden cameras she'd set up around her modest home. The once quiet suburban landscape outside her front door felt alive, shadows lurking just beyond her sight. She'd always known there was darkness in the world, but these recordings were revealing things she never could have imagined. Goosebumps prickled her skin, and she clenched her fists at the chill running through her spine. When she first glanced at the video, it appeared mundane. Just her 2 kids, Sarah and Jake, wrapped in soft blankets, their small frames rising and falling in peaceful slumber. But then came the rustling sound, faint but distinct, like leaves scratching against glass. Nothing more than the wind? Or something else? The unease creeping into her chest screamed otherwise. Night after night, Lisa scrutinized the grainy footage, and the stillness of her home began to warp into something sinister. First, it was just shadows flitting across the room. She blinked hard, questioning her sanity. Was she exhausted from too many late shifts at the diner, or was something hiding in the darkness? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days dragged on, her bewilderment turned into icy fear. One night, she was gripped by a mix of dread and disbelief as she spotted a cloaked figure outside her living room window, a dark silhouette fixated on her sleeping children. The sight snatched her breath away. The figure stood still, as if savoring the moment, and Lisa's heart thundered in her chest, a primal instinct urging her to protect her kids at all costs. Paralyzed by terror, she tried to gather her thoughts, to convince herself it was just a trick of the light. But deep down, she knew better. When she dashed to the local police station, their dismissive expressions cut deeper than any knife. Exhaustion, ma'am. Just take care of yourself, they said with weary sighs, brushing off her frantic claims. Alone and desperate, she sought help from Mr. Thompson next door, a friendly figure who always had a kind word and a smile. But even as he helped her install a state-of-the-art security system, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that he was keeping secrets of his own. Days turned into nights filled with dreaded anticipation. She watched video after video, and what she discovered chilled her to the bone. Friendly neighbors, faces she thought she knew, revealed themselves in horror. Their shadows whispered dark secrets, entwined in the eerie folklore of the community. The words on the screen were a silent scream, exposing threads of betrayal she never expected. Now one truth loomed sinister: the cloaked figure hadn't just been watching from outside. The last footage she reviewed showed it inside her home, inches away from her children's door. Lisa's blood turned to ice as the weight of realization crashed down on her. Her sanctuary had become a nightmare. As she sat, paralyzed with fear, she had one terrifying question echoing in her mind: could she trust anyone, especially when untold darkness chilled the very bones of her seemingly safe suburban life? As the door creaked softly behind her in the stillness of the night, Lisa braced herself, knowing the worst was yet to come. Lisa's breath hitched in her throat as she turned slowly, dread pooling in her stomach. The creak of the door echoed through the silence, a chilling reminder that she was no longer alone. It was there, the cloaked figure, a silhouette against the expanse of her living room, just beyond where the shadows hugged the walls. The figure wasn't just a fleeting image from her camera now, it had physically breached the most sacred space of her home. Intense panic coursed through her veins, urging her to move, to scream, but her body betrayed her, rooted to the floor. Then it tilted its head, as if sensing her gaze. A shiver trickled down her spine as she caught a glimpse of something pale beneath the hood, an otherworldly glow that promised nothing but dread. The air felt thick, heavy, suffocating. She choked back a whimper and instinctively stepped backward, her foot catching on the edge of a table. The crash of glass echoed, shattering the stillness. The figure flinched, its attention broken. This was her chance, her only chance. She turned and bolted, rushing through the dark hall, heart hammering in her chest. Each footfall felt like a countdown. She needed to reach her kids, to bundle them away from this nightmare. Once she hit the bedroom door, she slammed it behind her, whispering frantic reassurances to her children, who stirred in their sleep. "Mommy's here," she breathed, straining to keep calm. But her mind raced, battling images of the cloaked figure that danced like flames in her thoughts. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her phone, heart racing as she dialed the number for help, her fingers slipping on the screen in desperation. A voice on the other end answered, but all Lisa could manage was a breathless "Someone S in my house." "Ma, please calm down," the dispatcher coaxed, his tone laced with heavy skepticism. "We need you to," but the line snapped dead, static cutting through like ice. Lisa's heart sank. The power. In her panic, she'd forgotten that the flickering lights were a warning, that the energy in her home was dwindling just like her hope. "Stay close, honey. Stay quiet," she whispered, shaking Sarah awake. Jake stirred, his innocent eyes blinking sleepily. Their confusion pained her, and it took everything in her to keep her voice steady. They had to trust her. As the tension built around them, she turned towards the bedroom door. It stood slightly ajar, shadows pooling like ink at her feet. The threat loomed. They weren't safe. With no other choice, she grabbed a pillow from each bed, handing them to her kids. "If anything happens, you hide, okay? Under the bed." The nods of her children ignited a fierce need within her, a desire to protect, to fight whatever that figure was. As her heart raced, the door creaked open a fraction more. A soft whisper slid through, cold and malicious, "Lisa." It was her name, distorted and laden with malice. She felt the chill frost her skin. A weight pressed down as if it were feeding off her fear. She flipped off the lights, plunging the room into darkness, unable to breathe. The door pushed wider. Whatever creature lingered outside was gaining entry. Desperation clawed at her throat as she searched for something, anything, to defend her family. A moment of her life flashed before her: birthday parties, laughter. But now? This was survival. Then, the low sound of something dragging across the floor overcame the silence. It slithered closer, weaving through the shadows. The children clamped onto her legs, eyes wide with terror. Lisa clenched her fists, poised to fight, feeling every heartbeat driving her toward one gut-wrenching choice: would she face whatever darkness lied beyond the door, or would she search for an escape? The whisper echoed again, taunting. "I've come for what you keep hidden." What was it after? The curtain of fear drew closer, threatening to consume her whole as Lisa stood on the brink of confrontation, the choice hanging heavy in the air. And then the walls trembled. Just before the door burst open, Lisa screamed, a raw, terrified sound that sent the darkness recoiling. But she had to know: would she save her children, or would they be forever lost to the lurking terror outside? Lisa braced herself for impact as the door clattered against the wall, the wood splintering under its own force. The cloak billowed like smoke, filling the doorway with darkness, and for a heartbeat, all time stood still. The whisper slid through the air again, coiling around her heart in a tight grip. "I want what you hide." Lisa, Jake and Sarah tightened their small hands around her legs, fear radiating from their trembling bodies. Lisa could barely breathe. A part of her wanted to scream and flee, but the other part felt an urgent need to protect. They needed to hide now. "Get under the bed," she hissed, urgency lacing her voice as she shoved the children toward the narrow space. They crawled and vanished from sight just as a shadow surged into the room, the air chilling as it passed. Come out," the sinister voice crooned, each syllable sliding like oil into her ears. It filled the room with a thick dread that turned her stomach. Lisa grabbed a heavy lamp, gripping it tightly, her knuckles white against the brass. She backed up slowly, her eyes fixed on the figure, which now hovered in the room, no longer just a silhouette but a looming horror, its edges blurred, as though it were partially woven from the very darkness around it. "Who are you?" she croaked, her voice barely rising above a whisper. It stepped closer, revealing a glimpse of a face, pale skin stretched tight over sharp features. Its eyes glimmered like cold steel, deep-set and filled with an unsettling hunger. "Those little secrets buried beneath your mother heart. I can smell them, Lisa." Her breath snagged in her throat. What could it possibly mean? The memories of her past swirled in her mind, a collection of regrets, fears, and the unknown. Had she hidden something too deep for her to realize? "Leave my children alone," she shouted, her voice a raw edge against the oppressive dark. With a sudden surge of resolve, she swung the lamp as if it were a lifeline. The figure moved back, an almost lazy avoidance, smirking as it danced on the threshold of reality, then it lunged. Time warped, blurring her perception of what was happening, and she felt the cold grasp of something sharp tugging at her, yanking her closer. Lisa stumbled, falling back into a dresser that rattled faintly under her weight. A photograph slipped loose from the frame, crashing to the floor, and for a split second, the figure hesitated, its eyes flickering over the splintered glass, as if it recognized something. "Your truths are not safe here." Fueled by instinct, she scrambled toward the bed, throwing everything off her path to reach her kids. "Jake! Sarah!" she cried, the fear boiling in her chest. The creature lunged again, its form lunging and snapping with unnatural speed. "Hide!" she screamed. The voice tore through her throat as she swept the pillowcase from the bed, ready to block the impending assault. She felt a surge of adrenaline connect her to the fight, pushing her into a frenzied rhythm. Heart pounding, she flung open the closet door, yanking out clothes in a mad dash. If she couldn't find a weapon, she could at least block the creature's path. Then, her fingers grazed something smooth and cold in the back of the closet, a small box. She grabbed it, flipping it open. Beneath the dust, a family heirloom lay curled within some kind of amulet, glowing faintly with an ethereal light. She had long forgotten it was there. "Your time is coming, Lisa," the figure taunted, its breath like ice against her cheek. But the moment of truth had arrived. She was no longer that passive victim. She would fight for her family. With a desperate prayer, she raised the amulet, hoping to unveil whatever hidden power it contained. "Back away!" she screamed. The air thickened, a force building around her. Would it protect them, or was it just another trap? As she faced the creature, it hissed, a low sound that pierced the air. The shadows began to swirl violently around them, choking the light. The figure coiled, ready to strike, and at that moment, Lisa knew one thing unequivocally: this fight was far from over. And the past was about to crash into the present, and then everything went dark. Was it truly over? Or merely the beginning of the terror that awaited them? The world melted into an abyss, a pitch black that swallowed all sound, all light. Lisa gasped, the echo of her desperation ringing in her ears, drowning out the chaos outside. The weight of darkness pressed against her skin, suffocating and cold. Somewhere beneath the surface of this void, her heart raced, a frantic drum in her chest. Suddenly, a spark ignited in the dark. The amulet glowed brighter, a nebulous light weaving tendrils through shadow. Within that flicker, Lisa felt the raw energy pulse against her palm. The warmth seeped into her skin, igniting a flicker of hope. "Jake! Sarah!" she shouted, the sound breaking free as if propelled from a cavern deep within her. The darkness hesitated, recoiling slightly, as if it was unsure how to respond. Then came the whispers, a darker echo of the earlier words, twisted and sharp, clawing at her resolve. "You cannot hide from what you are." The figure re-emerged, but this time fractured, a jumble of shadows and snarling features, eyes gleaming with malice as they fixated on her. Its contempt was palpable. Lisa's instincts roared. She clutched the amulet tighter, summoning whatever power it contained. "I want to let you hurt them," she screamed, the urgency raw in her throat. The amulet pulsed, and the shadows around her began to swirl, drawn to the brightness as if repulsed by the light. The creature hissed, the sound reverberating through the void, echoing like 1,000 nails scraping against glass. It lunged again, a chaotic blur seeking to reclaim the darkness. In that instant of collision, a split second, Lisa felt a tremor ripple through her, connecting her to something far older than fear. The secrets she had buried, the haunting memories of a past she had wanted to forget, surged to the surface. The amulet flared with light, illuminating fragments of her hidden truths. Visions of anguish, guilt, but also fierce love for her children pierced through her. Lisa, a voice called, softer now, fluid like water against stone. It was her mother, echoing from a time long past, pulled from memory. You must embrace it. Only then will the truth set you free. Mom? Tears stung her eyes as her breath caught in disbelief. In that moment of recognition, everything changed. The shadows halted, caught in that flickering light, battling the glow of the amulet. Lisa felt a sharp beam of clarity. This creature fed on her fears, her guilt. It thrived on secrets left unspoken and burdens carried alone. She took a bold step forward, defiance coursing through her veins. Show yourself, she demanded, her voice resonating with newfound power. I'm not afraid of you. The creature shrieked, twisting as if the light scorched its very essence. Lisa's heart thundered, the weight of her fears shifting. She recalled the moments she had ignored her own strength, the times she had hidden parts of herself from those she loved. Every slice of her past fed this thing, and now, she would starve it. Jake. Sarah. She navigated through the encroaching shadows toward the bed. Come out. The air grew charged with energy, and she could feel the weight shifting around them. Suddenly, she was dragged back into the looming darkness, the figure grabbing at her with icy claws. For a heartbeat, she fought against it, but the amulet flared, the warmth enveloping her, pushing back harder. But then she felt it, the tug of the children's fear wrapped around her like a chain. Desperation made her stronger. With a primal scream, she unleashed the power within her. Light burst wider, forcing the shadows to shriek and recoil, splintering the air like shattering glass. Then she saw them, a flicker among the dust motes floating in the luminescence. Jake and Sarah emerged, eyes wide with fear, but safe. But the creature wasn't done. This isn't over, Lisa. It echoed, and the shadows coalesced again, regaining strength. As its voice faded, a pulsing darkness bloomed, threatening to tear apart the safety they had found. Lisa tightened her grip on the amulet. I want to let you take them. What had she awakened in her family's past? What other truths conspired to consume them? With a quiet resolve, she prepared to face whatever horrors still lay hidden in the shadows, knowing this was just the beginning of their fight. Would she be strong enough to unravel the web of dread that had ensnared them all? And as the creature writhed, she felt the tremor of something lurking just beyond the shadows, waiting to escape. Would they be able to break free? Or would the past pull them down into eternal darkness? The air thickened with tension as the darkness swirled dangerously close, pulsating with an ominous hunger. Lisa stood firm, heart racing as she focused on the amulet's light. It bathed the room in a bizarre dawn, but the shadows seemed more alive, writhing like snakes, furious at their disruption. Stay behind me, she shouted to the children, who had huddled near her, eyes wide, paralyzed by fear. Their small bodies trembled, the innocence of their youth shattered by the terror that enveloped them. The creature writhed, its voice echoing in her mind like a dreadful lullaby. You think you found strength? You're just delaying the inevitable. Suddenly, the shadows lunged, breaking through the light with a ferocity that sent Lisa stumbling back. The crackling energy of the amulet flickered dangerously, the light dimming. She gasped, struggling to maintain her grip, as the cold tendrils of the dark creature reached for her throat. No! She cried, the word tore from her chest as she thrust the amulet forward. It blazed, pushing against the encroaching darkness, but the creature surged. Lisa's mind raced, her mother's words resurfaced, a haunting mantra. Embrace it. The truth. She felt a shift inside her, the weight of her secrets painful and now undeniable, threatening to spill over. What did it mean? Could she really face the truths she kept buried? Each revelation sparked in her mind like fireflies, illuminating memories draped in shadows. She remembered her mother's struggles, the secrets they had both borne. How refusal to confront them had cut through their love like a blade. The darkness hissed, sensing her hesitation. It curled back, following the scent of her buried fears, eager to devour. Embrace this, she whispered fiercely to herself, recalling the moments of warmth and love, too. I am not just my fears. Charging with newfound determination, she squared her shoulders. The shadows quivered, the creature paused. It locked eyes with her, fury mixing with a flicker of uncertainty. Lisa had inadvertently struck a nerve. She had ventured into the depths of fear and emerged holding a flame. Your fears cannot bind me. She boomed, her voice filling the space with resolve. The amulet blazed brightly, as if in response, and immediately began to draw the shadows inward, as a magnet would. No. No. The creature's voice warbled in rage, a cacophony of terrified whispers shrieking around her. The once oppressive darkness began to unravel, pulling back from the brilliant light as it fought to maintain its grip. Jake! Sarah! Help me! Lisa called, for the burning need to protect her children surged through her. With every ounce of strength, she focused on the amulet, pouring her love and hope into the glowing artifact. The children, trembling yet resolved, emerged from behind her. They too shouted, encouragement mixed with fragile courage, joining her in thrusting their fists forward. The light intensified, their collective hope becoming a blinding beacon. Shadows twisted and screeched, losing their form under the combined force of their unity. But just as victory seemed within grasp, the creature's form twisted violently. You cannot escape your lineage. It spat, vicious tendrils whip-cracking towards them. Desperation flooded back into Lisa's heart. Had their family buried something darker than just the past? In that moment, a chilling realization thundered through her. Something was even deeper, someone. Visions of a faded photograph flickered in her mind, a woman with sorrowful eyes, a family stained with shadows. Who was this woman? How did she connect to their hauntings? The shadow lunged once more, desperation in its movements, as if sensing Lisa unraveling its mystery. Reveal the truth. Lisa screamed, meeting the creature's gaze. And suddenly, there it was, a glimpse of a life engulfed in torment, a family's lineage twisted by dark secrets. More than shadows lingered in their past, could this creature be a sign of blood lost? As bright light consumed the last of the darkness, Lisa felt a cold hand seize the edge of her heart. Would they uncover the forgotten truths of their lineage, or would the shadows that haunted their family bear down upon them with a darkness they could not escape? The shadows receded, but not without leaving an echo, a haunting whisper that hung in the air, "They will find you, they always do." As the last wisps of shadow evaporated, Lisa gasped, the room still buzzing with residual energy. The light from the amulet dimmed, but it remained warm in her palm, a comforting heartbeat against the cold that lingered in her bones. Jake and Sarah, their faces ghostly pale yet determined, pressed closer, looking up at her with a mixture of hope and confusion. "Mom, what just happened?" Jake's voice was a tremor, cracking the silence that followed the storm. Lisa shook her head slowly, still processing the frantic pulse of events. I don't know," she stammered, "but we must stay alert." The walls of the room felt different now, shifting, almost breathing, exhaling the remnants of the darkness that had threatened them. Lisa scanned the corners, expecting the shadows to reform, to fight back. But nothing emerged. For the moment, they were safe. Then, a strange rustling sound reached her ears, faint yet distinct. It danced through the air like whispered secrets. Instinctively, Lisa held the amulet tighter, its soft glow offering a fragile shield against the growing dread. "Do you hear that?" Sarah asked, her eyes darting toward the large bookshelf against the far wall. Dust motes floated in the air, glittering like lost memories, and for a moment, they all seemed to hold their breath. "Let us check it out, okay?" Lisa urged, despite the fluttering panic in her chest. The children nodded, fear simmering alongside their curiosity. They stepped cautiously toward the bookshelf. Each footfall echoed ominously within the stillness, amplifying the sense of apprehension. As they neared, the sound grew clearer, a faint scratching, clawing at the wood, relentless and insistent. Panic twisted in Lisa's gut. What could be hiding behind those thick tomes, waiting to pounce? Jake reached out, hand trembling, to pull a heavy book from the shelf. The scratching stopped, a moment of chilling silence enveloping them. "Maybe it was just a rat or something," he suggested, forcing false bravado into his voice, but Lisa shook her head, heart pounding. "No, this is something different. Remember what the creature said? About lineage?" She stepped forward, a strange compulsion drawing her to the bookshelf. The wood felt warm under her fingers. "Mom, don't!" Sarah cried, a sharp note of fear breaking through. Ignoring her, Lisa pressed on, pulling another book free. It fell open, revealing a hidden compartment behind it. Inside lay a small, dusty box, ornate but weathered, covered in delicate carvings of twisted vines and faces that seemed almost alive. The box felt wrong, sickly sweet, as if it pulsed with a heartbeat of its own. "What is it?" Jake whispered, stepping closer. "I don't know," Lisa replied, anxiety clawing at her throat. "But we have to find out." She lifted the box, the weight both heavy and light in her hands, an unsettling paradox. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, snuffing out the warmth from the amulet's glow. The walls shivered, the air thickening with an oppressive dread that sent shivers coursing down her spine. Whispers rose, a cacophony, the anguished voices of the past merging with the present. "Lisa," a voice called out, low and melodic. It echoed through her mind, familiar yet distorted. "You must listen, Mom, it's back." Sarah shrieked, gripping Jake's hand tightly. Lisa spun around, disbelief filling her. The shadows were creeping back, shifting ominously, the edges of the room darkening. The whispers grew louder, merging into a chaotic storm, unrelenting, shrieking of old secrets buried within her family's history. "Open it," the voice urged, twisting through the air. "You need to understand and know." Lisa screamed as she felt the cold tendrils grasping at her ankles, dragging her back. "We won't let it." In her heart, she felt a choice. The box promised answers, but at what cost? Unraveling the hidden truths might unleash something more dangerous than shadows. "What will we find?" Lisa thought wildly, gripping the box tighter and meeting the eyes of her children, who looked back at her with trust, but uncertainty. If opened, could she save them from another force that might emerge, more terrifying than the creature they had just faced? Or would uncovering the truth lead them deeper into darkness? As the whispers crescendoed into a frenzy, the room darkened further, closing in on them, the shadows stirring once more. What would happen if she dared open the box and expose the secrets lurking within? The moment hung heavy in the air, thick with dread. Lisa's heart raced as she held the box, a truth waiting to escape, tantalizing and terrifying. The shadows prowled closer, hunger gleaming in their depths. She could feel their chilling breath, ghostly fingers pulling her toward temptation. "Mom, please." Jake's panic sliced through her resolve. He was just a boy, barely 14, and this wasn't a game. "Whatever's in there, we can't. It'll only make things worse." Lisa's grip tightened around the ornate box. Every fiber of her being screamed to drop it, to run, to shield her children from whatever horror awaited. But the whispers called to her, sweet and sinister, promising the knowledge she craved. "I have to know," she murmured, her voice barely a whisper. The shadows seemed to hush, waiting for her decision. "Stay back." she warned, lifting the box above her head. The shadows recoiled, momentarily frightened by the box's presence, and in that moment of clarity, fear surged. We can't let it win. With a deep breath, Lisa placed the box back onto the shelf, where it landed with a thud, sending a cloud of dust into the air. The whispers faltered. The darkness hesitated, then the ground trembled beneath them, and the air split with an eerie wail. Something wanted out. The walls shuddered, and a seam of blackness opened along the floor, pulsating like a living thing. Open it now. The voice surged, now louder, angrier. Mom! What's happening? Sarah's eyes were wide, terror painting her delicate features. Lisa turned, the dim glow of the amulet casting fleeting light around the room as if it knew the danger was escalating. The floor beneath them cracked, and through the widening abyss, a gusty wind roared, attempting to pull them in. We have to go, she shouted, gripping Jake and Sarah. Then she was struck by an idea, quick and bold. We'll turn it against them. Turn what? Jake asked, wide-eyed, terror rising in his throat. The box. Whatever it is, whatever it contains, it must have power. If we can harness it, if we can control it, maybe we can fight back. It's too risky, Mom. Sarah cried, shaking her head. But Lisa's mind raced with possibilities. We have to do something. Stand back. She threw her body against the bookshelf, fearing a desperate gamble. The darkness stirred around them, growing fiercer, and whispers rose once more, a terrifying symphony of anguish. As she strained to pull the box free, a rush of icy air swept around her, slithering up her arms and chilling her bones. The sound morphed into tortured cries, rising like smoke, twisting through the room. The shadows writhed, and from the darkness emerged something amorphous, an entity clothed in nightmares. Lisa froze, eyes wide. The shape twisted and turned, rising from the void, eyes like coals burning with malice. It had a hunger that reached deep into her soul, a hunger for despair. You cannot control what you do not understand, Lisa, it hissed, its voice a churning storm. I want to let you take them. She shouted with a fierceness that surprised even her. The creature paused, cocking its head, a flicker of intrigue passing through its 1,000 eyes. And what will you do to stop me? With a scream that melded her fear and fury, Lisa flung the box toward the entity. It struck the floor, bursting open like a cursed cocoon, revealing a blinding light that washed over everything. The darkness shrieked, drawing back, consumed by fading whispers. The children shielded their eyes, but Lisa remained, confronting the creature as it recoiled. You want answers? Let us see what truth reveals. As the light engulfed the shadows, a horrifying realization struck Lisa like a thunderclap. What if this act didn't just banish the evil but unleashed something worse? What if the secrets inside the box spun into a web of torment even she couldn't escape? With the entity now struggling against the light, she felt the pulse of the amulet thrumming in sync with her heart, as if urging her to make a final choice. But just as she reached for it, the light flickered, dimming, shadows clawing their way back. Churning like a tempest. The cacophony returned, powerful, inescapable, drowning out her thoughts. Lisa! Jake cried, panic breaking through. Then came a silence, thick and potent. Do you really want to uncover your family's truth? The creature whispered, its eyes narrowing. Or would you prefer to live in blissful ignorance? Frozen, she could only stare, the shadows swirling and reaching, the truth both tantalizing and terrifying on the edge of revelation. Would she be brave enough to uncover the dark legacy? Or would ignorance be her only salvation? The choice loomed, waiting for her answer. The creature's eyes bore into Lisa, pulling her mind deeper into its void. Choose, it hissed, its voice laced with venomous silk. The shadows surged as the entity tightened its grip, seeking to peel away her thoughts and replace them with dark fantasies. Lisa trembled, torn between the gravelly ground beneath her feet and the cerulean whispers from the light. I can't, I want tea. But her voice wavered, and with every heartbeat, the shadows clawed closer, creeping into her thoughts. Blissful ignorance, the creature taunted, now laughing, its laughter a cacophony of despair. It wanted her to surrender, to give in. As it wrapped her heart in cold steel, her resolve flickered. Images of her family's past flashed in her mind, long-buried secrets, misfortunes, all woven into the fabric of their lives. Had she really wanted to know? "Mom! You have to fight!" Jake screamed, pulling on her arm with desperate strength. But his grip felt weaker against the surging tide of the shadows. "Look at the truth, Lisa. You think fear protects your children? It only darkens their path." The creature's voice roared, booming through the once familiar room, remaking it into a theater of horror. Suddenly, the light seemed to beckon her. "It can help expose the evil within," it whispered, a haunting melody that danced upon her ears. The shadows coiled, determined to snuff out the faint glimmer of hope, merging into the darkness of the room. A decision waxed and waned in her heart. I want to know," she gasped, her voice gaining strength as the room pulsed with energy. But was it the right decision? Was the price too heavy? As if sensing her choice, the entity shrieked, its dozens of eyes flaring with rage. The light brightened, revealing long-forgotten images swirling within the echoes of lost family moments, dark memories that festered, waiting to rise. Each echo leaping forth was a thread that pulled Lisa into a tapestry of suffering. Fingers of shadow ghosted around her as they twisted into forgotten faces, people who had lingered in her life only to vanish into the ether of her past. A beloved grandfather, haunting secrets spilled out like blood in the water. "You've hidden what I told you, Lisa. You cannot escape it," he whispered, his visage twisting in pain. Lisa fought against the wave of memories, their icy tendrils seeking to drown her. The entity threatened to pull her into a whirlpool of despair. "Face what lies beneath. Embrace your legacy," it howled, pulling closer, a monstrous serpent longing to devour her. "No!" she yelled, a fierce spirit igniting within her. "I will not let you consume me." Summoning the strength from her love for Jake and Sarah, she lunged for the amulet, now glowing a brilliant light as if acknowledging her defiance. The shadows hissed, recoiling from the brightness, which surged like a tsunami crashing upon the shore, sweeping away the fear that held her hostage. The light engulfed her, forcing the entity to retreat, but just as she thought she had won, the light shivered and halved. "Not yet, not yet, not yet!" the creature cried, voices layering over one another, an unholy chorus echoing in the room. Then in a deafening silence, the light dimmed, revealing the box flickering weakly at her feet. "What will you do, Lisa? A piece of paper for the truth?" it sneered. The room felt heavier than before, shadows stretching like tendrils grasping for her soul. What truths lay waiting to emerge? Would she fall prey to the darkness that had threatened her so many times before? "Make your choice," the entity growled, the air crackling with anticipation. What if you had to know the secrets of your own blood? Or would she risk it all to forge a new path, one untouched by horror? The box lay open, a world of unspeakable truth bubbling at its edges, eager to escape. What lay in wait could shatter them or pull them back together. What drain of evil would expose her family's demons? Would the legacy of their past offer salvation or condemn them to an eternity of darkness? Lisa could feel the weight of the world, the choice, the torment pressing down with every second ticking closer to a final collision. What truth was she truly ready to unearth? The darkness throbbed like a heartbeat, every pulse echoing through the room. Lisa's eyes locked on the box. It trembled, the air thick with an unshakable dread. She could feel the shadows beckoning, swirling like a somber dance around her. "Your choice is the key," the entity snarled, its voice dripping with malice. "Will you open Pandora's box?" Jake's grip tightened around her arm, his fingers cool and clammy. "Mom, don't do this. It's a trick," he pleaded, his voice a mix of fear and desperation. But the shadows whispered to him too, promising knowledge that felt impossible to ignore. Lisa bit her lip, her heart racing. What if this was the only way to save her children? What if this was the door to understanding the darkness that had haunted them for generations? The pull was intoxicating, an unholy temptation that warmed her blood. Rather than answer Jake, she stepped forward, the light from the amulet flickering like a scared flame. Just a piece of paper, Lisa, the entity chortled, the shadows bending toward the light, hungry for it. Open it, and you'll learn everything. With a shaky hand, Lisa reached into the box. Her fingers brushed against something fragile, something ancient. It felt warm, alive. She pulled it free, a yellowed paper, ancient and crinkled, but alive with shockingly vivid images and words. "Don't!" Jake cried, his voice piercing through her thoughts. But it was too late. The shadows tightened around them, and the creature hissed like a viper. As she unfolded the paper, images exploded in front of her, each memory pulling her in deeper. The faces of her ancestors emerged, haunted, twisted by grief and torment. They reached out to her, their mouths moving silently in agony. "You're one of us, welcome to the family," they seemed to whisper as the shadows thickened, swirling like a storm. Suddenly, the air crackled. Lisa's throat tightened as the truth unfolded like a sinister flower. Her heart sank when she saw it, the family's curse, the dark legacy forged in betrayal and pain. Each revelation felt like knives slicing through her spirit. "Do you understand now?" the creature hissed, satisfaction dripping from its mocking tone. "You cannot escape what you are. Your blood is tainted, and your children will suffer too." The room shifted, shadows swirling faster. Just as panic clawed at her chest, the amulet flared with blinding brightness, illuminating their surroundings. Lisa, fighting through the rush of dark history, clutched the amulet, determined to shield her children. "No! Your darkness won't claim my family!" she roared, pulling Jake closer and shielded Sarah behind them. But the shadows writhed, rage building within the creature. "Give in. It is your fate." It bellowed, lunging toward them, its form writhing and changing, a grotesque mockery of humanity. For a fleeting moment, Lisa felt hope flicker within her, a reminder of her family's love. It wasn't just shadows, there was light, too. "Together!" Jake shouted through clenched teeth. The children began to chant, a soft whisper that built into a loud chorus, weaving a barrier against the darkness. "Love will conquer." The entity recoiled, thrashing in anger, the lights above beginning to shatter like glass rain. "Foolish mortals! You think you can overcome your heritage?" With the power of unity coursing through them, the amulet exploded with radiant light. But as the shadows writhed, a terrible gasp echoed through the air, ripping at their sanity. It felt as if the ground beneath them trembled, casting doubt on the light's power. But then, a terrible silence fell. The shadows quivered, and the entity, momentarily weakened, slithered back. The chill of dread hung thick as darkness weighed heavily in the aftermath. The truth was still there, alive in her hand, but at what cost? Lisa's breath quickened as she surveyed the raising shadows. What had she truly unleashed? Would her family survive the secrets they now carried? The air turned electric with tension, and the once familiar room felt like a tomb. Shadows loomed over them, and deep in the dark, something stirred. How much had they awakened? What awaited beyond the veil of truth? Just then, there was a low rumbling, a sound worse than thunder. Was it fear tightening around them, or worse, was it the creature, preparing for a final assault? With almost primal instinct, Lisa tightened her grip on the amulet, its pulses resonating with a raw energy that made her feel alive. She was no longer just a victim facing the shadows, she was a mother fueled by love and righteous fury. Sarah and Jake huddled close, their small bodies radiating warmth amid the freezing encroachment of the creature. "Stay close," she commanded, her voice firm, rising above the drumming rain of fear that threatened to drown them. "We're not giving in. Not now." The entity, swirling shadows shrouded in darkness, seemed to pause, sensing her defiance. Its multitude of eyes glittered with contempt, its voice a menacing hiss that slithered through the air. You cannot stop what is already writing its own tale. Your blood tells a story of despair. As it spoke, the shadows surged like a wave crashing onto the shore, threatening to swallow them whole. Lisa shielded her children, heart pounding like a war drum, the echo a reminder that time was slipping through her fingers. Together. Jake yelled, his teen voice filled with a passion that grounded Lisa. Invoking the memories of laughter and family embraced in warmth, she breathed into her children's courage, turning the atmosphere electric. Together. Repeated Sarah, squeezing her mother's hand tight. The warmth of their unity pulled Lisa firmly into the storm of shadows, igniting hope amidst despair. Let us show it what love feels like. Lisa screamed, her voice filling the abyss around them. They stood as one, three hearts, bonded with unwavering determination. The amulet brightened in response, a wave of warmth flooding their souls. What you fear will claim you. The creature bellowed, its form contorting, readying for one final strike. Its shadows whipped and rolled like an angry tide, thundering against the wall of light they were creating. No. You will not take them. Lisa charged forward, pushing against the existence of despair, empowered by truth recognized and familial love not to be snuffed out. She drew on the amulet's light, pouring every ounce of energy into it, as Jake and Sarah mirrored her stance, the intensity wrapped around them like a blanket, igniting a fiery brilliance that pulsed rhythmically grounded in history, rising beyond the shadows threatening to choke their lives. They started to chant together, their voices synchronized in an ethereal melody echoing with love we will break the chains of darkness. The illumination soared, overtaking the shadows inch by inch, doubt receding against their collective spirit. Foolish mortals. Your love means nothing against the darkness of your past. The creature shrieked, writhing as the light advanced, tearing through its malevolence like a pure blade. But Lisa felt it an undercurrent of truth that sang louder than the creature's lies. The shadows thinned, twisting and curling, dissipating in the relentless waves of light. In that moment, Lisa grasped the reality of her lineage. The darkness had thrived on fear and ignorance, but now they confronted it with understanding and love. One last surge, Lisa poured her love, guided by her mother's words. We stand united, stronger than the shadows. With a shattering roar, the creature lunged, desperation clawing at it. You cannot escape your fate. But just then, the amulet pulsed to its brightest, flooding the space with a light so pure that even the darkest entity found no refuge. The shadows screamed, a shriek that resonated as the fragile web shattering against clarity. The echoes of all those secrets, the pain, loss, and forgotten triumph poured out alongside the light. They swirled, returning to the very fabric from which they came, unraveling the dark legacy that had haunted them. As the last remnants of shadow disintegrated, the air turned still. Lisa, Jake, and Sarah stood in the aftermath, bathed in warmth and light. The entity's shrieks faded into nothingness, leaving only the low hum of peace echoing around them. Mom? Jake whispered, cautiously peering into the now sunlit room as if unsure the nightmare had truly ended. It's over, honey, Lisa breathed, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks as they embraced one another, wrapped in the embrace of newfound safety. In that moment of unity, healing encircled them like a hug from the past. What about the truth? Our legacy? Sarah asked softly, her gaze searching Lisa's eyes. Lisa knelt, cupping her daughter's face gently. The truth is what we build now, together. A future where our past gives strength, not fear. We have reclaimed our story. As they stood together, surrounded by an aura of light, the warmth cascaded around them, weaving a new narrative against the backdrop of shadows that had loomed too long in their lives. They were not just survivors, they were warriors now, claiming their destiny. The power of the amulet dimmed but remained in hand, a symbol of the journey they had faced and the strength they had forged. Behind them, shadows melted away, retreating into echoes forgotten, and Lisa knew they had faced the darkness and emerged whole. Suddenly, A new whisper of a breeze swept through the room, an omen woven with possibility. She felt the shadows would always be there, a reflection of what could have been. But now a brilliant future awaited, cherished under the light of the love they shared. As they stepped forward, hand in hand, Lisa breathed in deeply, smiling at the dawn illuminating the sky outside her window. They would never allow darkness to reclaim their hearts, and maybe, just maybe, they could help others learn from their past, unravel forgotten secrets, while building a life that embraced light, laughter, and resilience. Together, they were unstoppable, united against the darkness. The dawning of a new chapter. Before you go, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss our next exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash that like button right this second to show your love and support, and let the algorithm feed on your enthusiasm. Flood the comments below with your reactions and theories about this conclusion. And for the true fans out there, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic finale. Show the world we stand together against the shadows.